gun. That's nice stuff.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to a cuppa.
A cuppa.
With Cath and Jay. A cuppa wine, because this is the sunset edition. It's Friday evening here in southeast so-called Queensland. We're on our veranda on beautiful Yugambeh country.
You can almost see the mountains behind us. But,
It's still a bit hazy. We've had a lot of rain in the last few days. But it's just a lovely evening to be here and to be together and sitting out in the veranda and relaxing after a very busy week. And we're looking forward to seeing people joining us here on the live stream whilst we have that cuppa, sing a song or two, and chat about our new single, Millard Pop-Top 74.
Yay! New digital release.
It's a new CD, but the single, the title track, Millard Pop-Top 74, has also just been released 2 weeks ago, and we're very excited to share it with everyone.
And there's going to be a phase 2 release in about a week's time.
Well, yeah, we'll
tell you a bit
talk
more
about that another time. But that's also some exciting news, isn't it?
It is.
Tonight we'll be telling some stories that people have sent in the best, worst camping trip disaster story competition. And the winner of that we won't be announcing yet, but the winner will be, if there's only one winner, they'll be getting a CD. If there's 2 winners, both of them will get a free CD mailed to them of the Millard Pop-Top 74 CD. Hello to Hillary Quinion. Have I said that correctly, Hillary?
Quinion.
Quinion?
Yeah.
Hello, it's nice to have you.
Good to see you.
All right, so what song are we going to sing, Jay?
I think we might do Lucky Premonition off the album today.
Or Lucky Premonition it is. This song we wrote last year up at Narelle and Gary's place at Curramundi.
Yep.
On the Sunshine Coast.
We came home and recorded it and put a whole arrangement together and all the rest of it. And then when I was putting songs together for the EP CD, I was saying, we could probably do with another song. And I looked back through the sessions and I realised that actually we'd done this song and we'd done it in its entirety, and it's
recorded it all.
Actually good enough as it was to go straight on the CD. So that was a relief.
And we'd forgotten.
We had it.
We just totally forgotten.
Life is so busy.
But anyway, I'm Cath Mundy, this is Jay Turner, and this is our song Lucky Premonition, and it's all about the story of meeting this fella and him meeting me nearly 30 years ago. 30 years ago next month.
Yep.
30 years ago, backstage at Port Fairy Folk Festival.
12th of March.
Here we go. 1, 2, shoot, do, be do, be do. When I first saw you, I had a premonition. I had a premonition. A lucky premonition. When I first saw you, I had a premonition. My premonition told me it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. My premonition said it's gonna be alright. When I first talked to you, call it intuition. Call it intuition. Let's call it intuition. When I first talked to you, call it intuition. My intuition told me it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. My intuition says it's gonna be alright. Well, we haven't steered it wrong so far. When I first kissed you, I had a vision. I had a vision, such a lovely vision. When I first kissed you,
told me it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. My lovely vision said it's gonna be alright. When optimism hits the ceiling, oh, but since I saw you in that moment, it's always been more than alright. 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 More than alright.
Trust that my intuition.
It's much more than a suspicion. My lucky premonition. You and me, we're more than alright.
Trusted my intuition, but
Didn't remember the
didn't
words.
trust my memory. I forgot the words at that moment, and I admit I forgot a chord earlier on. It's that time of the day and that time of the week. Hello to Robin and to Joe Boyle. Robin Martin, Joe Boyle, who
Evening,
just joined
guys.
us. Good to see you. Robin says, I love this song, singing along while we sip red wine and cook dinner. Ah, that's
Sounds like the perfect combination, Rob.
perfect Friday evening. And hello to Leanne.
Hi, Leanne.
Leanne Dobson. Hello, lovely Leanne. One of the people, Robin and Leanne, we've both been camping with those families. We've had some adventures, so they know all about our trials and tribulations, don't you, Leanne and Robin, with the Millard Pop-Top? And you know about a few of our tribulations with the upgrade that we got nearly 2 years ago, the Jayco 2007 Flamingo. We've had a few trials and tribulations with that as well. Even though it's a much earlier version, a much more modern version, later version of the pop-up camper, it
By
still
30 years.
had a leak in the roof, which you fixed.
Yeah, fix that.
And while we were at Tamworth Country Music Festival just a couple of weeks ago,
One of the telescopes didn't go up.
because one of the cables had disconnected itself. So what was Jay doing while we were at Tamworth? He was doing running repairs on the cabling of the new Jayco. So
That's all right, but the Millard had taught me
adventure.
so well that I didn't sort of worry about it, and Cath was kind of upset and freaking out a little bit, and I just said, darling, don't worry, I know exactly what to do.
I was sort of re-traumatized because we went through that so many times with the Millard that I was like, oh no. What are we going to do? Because it was terrible when it happened with the Millard, especially when it first was happening, because you didn't know how to fix it. But this time, Jay was just cool, calm and collected and said, yeah, we got this. Don't worry, Cath. He is, I have said this before and I'm going to say it now, I believe he is now Australia's foremost amateur expert in how to cable a wind-up roof camper van. He has redesigned and re-cabled the old Millard, and he's redesigning the Jayco now as well. So
I'm redesigning the catch-up, the hook-up system to the cabling, so that the systems have not changed in 50 years, and it's a very simple thing that I'm hoping that I'll be able to do, but I'm going to experiment on it. Take a little bit of welding and a little bit of jiggery-pokery, but when I'm finished, I'm hoping that I'll have put in place a foolproof system, which will be the first time.
If anyone can do it, Jay can. Jay can. When the Millard first started messing up its cabling system, we paid $500. This is 12, 13 years ago, to a professional to fix it. Oh, can you hear the kookaburras? We've got Paul Morwood. We've got Victoria Wolf. Hello, Victoria.
Evening, Victoria.
We've got Simon Horton. Hi, Simon. Leanne saying hi, Cath and Jay. And Helen Forbes is here too.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen. Haven't seen you in ages.
A long while.
And Mandy. We've got the lovely Mandy here.
Hey, Mandy. Well done Well done on Cath's haircut. Looks fantastic.
Mandy is a choir member of Freedom Train Choir, and she's also my hairdresser. She did my hair yesterday. Thank you, Mandy. I love my hair. So yeah, good to have you all. We're going to talk about the Millard Pop-Top 74 competition, the storytelling competition. So we've had a number of entries to the storytelling. We've been reading them out at our live streams. This is our third live stream this week. We did one Sunday afternoon, one Wednesday morning, and now the sunset tonight. And we've read out stories from Cath, Cara, Neil, Jane up in Far North Queensland, Anne down in Victoria, Nicole, local to us here, Frances down in Tamworth, Glenys, also a local, and Glenys had like her story involved camels and sexy black knickers.
Yes.
Oh, and hello to Maki.
Evening,
Maki is here. We'll talk a little bit more about Maki and her wonderful artwork for the album later. Maki's very, very shy about it and doesn't want us to talk about it too much, but we just can't help ourselves because she's just done a beautiful job. Thank you, Maki.
Yes.
And Leanne's calling you Mr. Fix-It.
Mr. Fix-It.
Thank you for the love hearts. I love it when I see love hearts floating.
She's also married to a Mr. Fix-It, and he's a very smart man, Steve, and he knows.
That's
probably
true.
not as much about caravans as I do about pop-tops, but anyway.
Steve Dobson, yes, he's another amazing engineer.
Yeah.
And Paul Morwood saying, hi, Cath and Jay and everyone, how are you all?
We're all good, Paul.
We're good. And everyone who's on the live stream, please feel free to pop a comment, say how you are or where you are.
Oh, this one's good. Okay, we're going to start reading these stories.
Okay, stories.
This one's from Melanie Hannon, and oh my god, this one, I've not actually seen this one before, and it's really, really quite amazing.
You read it.
So, we went camping out at Mount Barney. We had a great day with swimming and cocktails and great food.
Ooh, it sounds good.
That night, we sat around the fire eating toasted marshmallows. Adam ate too many marshmallows. And as we got into the tent, he vomited over the bedding. As we got the torch out, we spotted something move in the corner of the tent and pulled the bedding back to spy a tarantula standing on its hind legs, rearing up, ready to bite. It took a few minutes to get the spider out, and Adam got to sleep in another tent, and I got to sleep in our tent with no covers as they'd been bundled into the car. The next day, the rain bucketed it down, so eventually we gave up, packed up our gear, and went home.
Oh, Melanie.
Unbelievable.
That's a great story.
That's a great story. But where else can you get a tarantula?
Food, marshmallows, vomiting, and a tarantula, and then tops it off with rain.
Yeah.
I mean, rain has been a
constant theme, yeah. Definitely.
In a lot of the stories that we've received in this competition.
Not heard of a tarantula before. Gee,
tarantula.
That's really, really scary. Oh. I can imagine this. I can imagine the scene, and I'm just my skin's crawling as I'm imagining it.
Reared up, going, get away from me, you campers in my space.
Don't be silly. I can get you.
Oh my goodness, that's a great one, Melanie. Thank you.
Okay.
And Rhonda is here. Hello, Rhonda.
Evening, Rhonda.
Rhonda Davidson Irwin. Good to have you, you legend.
Okay.
Oh, and Claire. Claire is in the UK. Good morning, Claire. We're seeing the sun go down and the day is starting for you. It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
From the other side of the world.
From the other side of the world.
All right, so the next story
is from Robin.
Robin is here. Robin.
She's here,
hello,
so
Robin.
we'll read it out. Our worst camping time was when we went to Broom's Head to celebrate Andrew, her husband's birthday. In a camper trailer, 2 days before we left, I stubbed and broke my toe on the leg of a camping chair that Andrew had left lying on the floor.
No blame attached here.
No blame here. No, I can see a disaster coming. The first thing I had to do when we arrived was buy a pair of thongs, as I couldn't get a shoe on my foot. I hauled around the beach, and the wind picked up and the sand stung our legs and it blew across the beach. Then there was the rain, which would have been okay, except that hubby forgot to bring a vital pole for the annex. I can see this is building up into a big problem. He fashioned something with a tarp for our outdoor cooking area, which vaguely did the job until the southern edge of the cyclone came through.
Cyclone.
It blew and blew all night and wreaked havoc on our makeshift annex, which collapsed. The next day, everything was soaked and we had nowhere dry to make or eat breakfast. So we packed it down in the rain, got soaking wet, headed for home, a proper breakfast and a warm shower. A few months later, we bought a motorhome with solid walls. But that's another story.
Oh, Robin! Oh my gosh, that is a pretty good one. You've wrapped a lot into that. So we've got the injury, the camping injury, stub of the toe, the breaking of a toe.
Oh my goodness, that's horrible.
Then we've got wind. Oh my gosh, we've had some windy camps and some disasters that have ensued from that as well.
Fortunately, not the edge of a cyclone. That's just, these guys were on the edge of a cyclone.
Well, ours felt like the edge of a cyclone. Sand that stings. I know what that feels like. Sand that stings. And then there's the annex and the pole situation. We've had those things too. The tarp blowing down, the rain, the wind, everything soaked, and then giving up and heading home. That is a wonderful camping disaster story. Thank you. And I'm sorry about your toe. I'm sure that must have been horribly painful.
Horrible. It's amazing, though, what inspires us to get out of a tent and get into something a little bit more sophisticated.
We just wanted to get off the ground from the tent after we had the Woodford Folk Festival rain.
Well, it was also the fact that it didn't really seem to matter whether or not it was dry or wet. But when you tried to roll the tent up at the end, there was always this wet, sticky, muddy kind of mess that you had to try and clean off. And if it was dry, that was okay. But if it was wet, then you were in trouble. And then you'd have to hang the tent out somewhere when you got home. And we had nowhere here. We've got an acre of ground, but we've got nowhere to hang a tent to dry. So
it's a lot of hillside.
Yeah.
But anyway,
okay.
We have now a story from Claire, who is here on the live stream as well. Hello, Claire. Thank you for sending your story.
Good morning, Claire. Even though it's evening here.
I've skipped over one.
Yes, you have.
Okay,
do you want to do JB's afterwards?
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll do JB's next.
Okay. So Claire is a bit of a folkie, and she goes to all the festivals over there in the UK.
That's how we met Claire. Claire would be at lots of folk festivals that we were
and our gigs too.
And our gigs, yeah.
So she says, "Hi, Cath and Jay. I was camping at Whitby Folk Week. The official campsite at the time was in a field in the bend of the River Esk, on a large field, and I put my tent up about 800 yards from the river. We'd had some rain, but nothing too much, until I was woken up in the early hours by someone shaking my tent and telling me to get up quickly and pack. I didn't have a car at the time, and because I was reliant on my parents collecting me at some time that morning. I did the best I could, but when I stepped out of my tent, I was within 4 inches of getting inundated. Another time at a different festival, my friend Jane and I, along with her 2 kids, were sharing a tent and 2 double air beds. Jane's eldest managed to kick me off the bed, and I landed half on the air bed Jane was sharing with her youngest. I just about had time to say move, or the consequences would not have been good. Okay, the same weekend, the family next to us decided that Jane and I were a couple. Her kids have always called me Auntie Claire, so anyway, Jane and I had an excellent time hamming it up, and the kids cottoned on and laid it on thick as well. We know we were naughty, but we really enjoyed ourselves.
That is naughty.
That is naughty.
But fun.
Yeah, and there's another one. You've had a lot of fun. You can tell.
You've sent us lots of stories here, Claire. This is great. Thank you.
The last one was again at Whitby, but on the rugby club field where there's no water. It was very windy, and Jane decided that there wasn't enough room for all the tents. Her eldest wanted a tent of their own. So we would take the pegs out of my tent and move it a few feet. Unfortunately, the wind got under the fly sheet and ripped it a little. I was desperately hanging on for dear life and shouting for help, but the wind took my shouts away and decided to rip the tent a bit more.
Oh, no.
By the time help arrived, the fly sheet was more or less torn 3/4 of the way across, and the wind was far too strong to attempt any kind of repair. So Muggins here had a 3-hour round trip home to collect whatever tents, fly sheets, poles and pegs I could find to last us out the week.
Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Claire.
4 different stories there. And rain again is a feature. Wind is again a feature. And holding on to ripped things. That's something that we've had happen to us as well on a very windy camp at Broken Head in northern New South Wales, which we now call Broken Back, because that camp is the one that just about broke your back, and you spent the whole
holiday laying on the bed
because you couldn't move, and we even had to support you to go to the toilet.
Fortunately, the toilet block was only 20 metres away.
Prop him up, because when we were trying to get the pegs in, the ground was so hard that it bent every single peg that we had.
It.
Yeah,
it's concrete.
And Jay's back just went out. He's had back problems on and off for many, many years, and it just was too much. And at the same time, a cyclone was blowing a gale. Well, it wasn't an actual cyclone, but it felt like one. And Joshua and I were trying to hang on to the tarp that you were trying to peg. And the
pegs wouldn't go in.
Into the pole to hold the pole. So we had to hold it up manually whilst the wind was taking us away. Josh was about 12, and our knuckles were white. We held on and on and on and on. And he had to leave. He had to go and find somebody to help us get the pegs into the ground.
It was very funny, actually, because
we were standing there just going,
they were nearly flying away. I went to the office and I said, look, this site that you put us on, it must have concrete underneath it because we can't get the pegs in. And the woman sort of looked at me as if to say, oh, another one of these campers, useless,
campers who don't know what they're doing.
Not very clever. She said, don't worry, I'll get the boys, they'll come and they'll sort it out. So two big burly Islander guys come along with a long-handled club hammer, huge, great lump hammer. And they bent all the pegs because they couldn't get them in either. And they shrugged their shoulders and went, oh, well, it's never happened before. And off they went. Thanks a lot, guys. Anyway, they didn't solve it either.
So Jay's back went out, and then he couldn't even walk. He couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't go down to the beach. We had to prop him up to get him across the road to go to the toilet block.
Yeah.
And you were on painkillers the whole time. I think you got better on the last day.
On the last day, I managed to walk to the beach, but it was too much to be on the beach because the beach was uneven, so I couldn't do that.
So we relate. We relate to these stories that you sent in. Thank you so much. All right, we've got one more story. Unless anyone wants to send one in the comments right now, you're very welcome to type your story into the comments section here, and we'll read it out straight away.
Okay.
But this one is from JB, my lovely JB.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Dan Endicott is her...
Oh, she's tagging her friend Dan.
Great friend Dan, who
they go camping together.
Quite often go on adventures together. Would our adventures and much enjoyed time spent stranded in clouds, roadsides and on creek banks episodes whilst camping around northern New South Wales in the height of the 2011 floods?
Ooh.
Or our recent trip to Goombara, where we discovered we'd forgotten to pack the adapter from the gas bottle to the stove to be our most memorable disaster? Was that just a whole lot of fun and making do with what we had? Well, I expect it was.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All these stories have triggered, for me, a story that was an absolute disaster. And I decided that Josh was about 5, maybe 4. I
think he was 4.
4.
And he hadn't been away from me overnight.
He'd not been away from
much.
Catherine, and he was very, very clingy. And I thought, look, the thing to do is maybe to break this clinginess for him. We'll go away on a bloke's weekend.
Boys' weekend. Dad and son.
So I decided we would go up to a beautiful park, Kenilworth, I think it's called.
Yes, a national park.
National Park, Kenilworth.
Forest.
But the tent that we had was really inadequate, so I thought, well, what I'll do is on the way I'll buy another tent. So I did. I bought a brand new tent, put it in the car, and off we went on the 2 3/4 3-hour journey up to Kenilworth. Of course, because I delayed a little bit to get the tent and underestimated the journey time, we got there just on sunset.
Around now.
Yeah, like around this now. So I had a head torch, so I wasn't too perturbed about that. And I said to Josh, look, you stay in the car and I'll peg the tent out. Anyway, I'm about 2/3 of the way through getting the thing done when I discover that I'm one pole short.
Oh no, I remember this.
Somebody had failed to pack one of the most important poles.
Who was that?
Oh, well, whoever it was failed to pack it. and I hadn't tested it out. I'd never put the tent up before, and I'm there trying to read the booklet in my head torch, whilst the pole is missing, no light whatsoever, no power, none of the rest of it. Joshua, of course, is restless in the car, so I said, all right.
We've got a child who has ADHD.
So I said, okay, look, mate, you stay in the car, and what we'll do is I'll put the light on so that you can, feel that you're all right, and I'll leave the door open so you won't feel alone. So I thought that was a great idea, but of course the light attracted all the insects, all the moths, and so the next thing I've got is a kid writhing and screaming in the back of the car because there's thousands of moths attracted by the light, and I just could not. There's no way I could put this tent up, so I just basically repacked the whole tent, threw it in the boot, drove off again with the windows open to try and get rid of all the moths, and drove 2 3/4 hours home. So
I think it was even longer.
It was very long. So by the time I'd finished, we'd had an 8-hour adventure to absolutely no advantage whatsoever. And I decided I would then the next day put the tent up in the backyard just to see exactly what was missing. And by golly, there was a pole missing. And I took it back and I went, oh, whoops.
And I had emotionally prepared myself to be without my child for the first time and be alone in the house for the first time since he had been born. And then I get a call when they get back into mobile service area. I get a call, we're coming back. And I'm like, what? I just geared myself up to not have you here for the whole weekend, and you're telling me you're coming back?
Yeah, I think I got home about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was not a happy boy, I must say. But anyway...
We've got a few more stories coming through from people who are here on the live stream. Hello. We've got one from Louise. Oh, and Robin says, oh no, we're going to Broken Head in a few weeks. Well, it might not be windy when you're there. It was just so windy when we were setting up.
We had arrived.
It might be fine.
We'd arrived quite late and the office was shut. And so we'd sort of gone, well, where should we set up? Better set up somewhere. So we took this really lovely level site that was not in the wind. And
it was tucked away a bit more.
It was tucked away, and we were very happy. We set it up. Nothing went wrong. It was just great. It's like the Millard had behaved itself for once, and set it all up. And next morning I went to the office and I said, oh, we arrived late last night, about 8 o'clock, so I'm sorry about that. Can we stay in the plot that we've got? And they said, no, that's bang in the middle of 5 families. You're going to have to move. So we had to unpack absolutely.
Someone else was booked on the site.
Somebody else was booked on the site with 5 families around them.
So yeah, we had to go somewhere.
So we had to move. So they moved us to this site, and literally it was impossible to get the pegs in. It was just impenetrable, and we bent literally 1/4 inch thick pegs trying to get them into the ground. Anyway, it was a bit of a disaster. Broken back. Yeah.
All right, Louise. Hello, Louise. Louise Winton is here. Haven't seen you for ages. Lovely to have you. Louise sent a story. Can you read that, Jay, or should I?
So we took the kids to Kingaroy. Again, it was blowing a gale in a dreadful storm. The rule for Aisha was don't let go.
No matter what.
No matter what. Well, the wind blew so hard and she stuck to the rules and became a human flagpole. There she was, waggling like a flag in the wind and the rain. We were all laughing so hard, but everything eventually got set up and had a nice weekend away. Oh, you can imagine the kid hanging on.
I can relate to that, the human flagpole. That's what Joshua and I felt like. We felt like we were human flagpoles. Thank you, Louise. That's awesome. And Claire Boyd in the UK says, the Windy Whitby finished us off camping. We now share a cottage.
Yeah.
That's sensible.
Claire, I remember going to a concert late one night.
At Whitby?
It
festival?
May not have been Whitby, but it was in the middle of August. But when we came out of the concert, I think I'd been on, and I think Jez Lowe was topping out the night. And we'd all enjoyed Jez, and we were coming out of it was like a town hall or something like that. And I was breathing out and I could see the breath in front of my face. This was August, mind you, only midnight.
Which is supposed to be summer.
It's supposed to be the warmest month of the year, or one of them. And a woman came out and stood next to me and breathed in. She said, that's bracing. And I said, yes, it is. She said, I love camping in this weather. And I said, yeah, I feel the same about motel rooms.
That was before you were a camper.
Yeah, it was before I was
now
a
you're a camper.
Yeah.
And Dom, hi Dom. Dom is here. And Mandy, hello Mandy. Mandy says, I don't remember ever going camping. What adventures you have all had. I'm enjoying the stories.
Oh, you need to go camping, Mandy.
At least once in your life.
Yes, yeah. Bring the dynamic of chaos into your life.
Embrace the chaos.
Embrace the chaos.
Now we have one from Paul. I used to live at Kenilworth, and I camped at Bellbird Park in between Kenilworth and Conondale.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Beautiful country.
And no powered sites, Paul, and no phone coverage at all. So it's way beyond Mullaney for anybody who doesn't know, which is right out in the boonies anyway.
In the Sunshine Coast hinterland. Hillary is saying, as a teenage steward at Whitby Folk Festival, I had a green one-man tent at the rugby club. A Morris dancer, I'm just going to get more. A Morris dancer on his way home in the early hours didn't see it, fell and landed on my back as I lay sleeping, smashing a pole. He was devastated and wanted to see I was all right, but I couldn't find my way out, and it was all panic. Oh my God. The next night I was offered accommodation, and some of the committee were still checking I was fine a decade later. Oh, you really could milk that.
Oh, that's great.
Hillary, that's a brilliant story.
That's a fabulous story.
Thank you so much for sending it. That's just outrageous. It's like a scene in a movie.
It is. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and my year one teacher, lovely Miss Lepsher, otherwise known as Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you? It's good to have you here. Yes, I'm so delighted that I still have my year one teacher in my life.
Is that
she
fantastic?
is a darling, and she comes to quite a few of our gigs, don't you? So thank you so much for coming in on the live stream tonight. We've got Jan Breeze as well, and Brian Turner, Jay's second cousin, who used to be our neighbour in Derbyshire. Hey up, Brian.
He's 85. Is my
you
beautiful
just had a
cousin,
birthday.
Brian.
Happy
and
birthday,
I tell you what,
Brian.
he doesn't look a day over 60. He looks fantastic. It's those Turner genes, Brian. We're very lucky boys, aren't we?
We're going to sing Happy Birthday, Brian.
Oh, are we?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brian. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brian. We miss you. Robin says, Hillary, that's the best story. Oh, we've also got Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Brian says, lovely to see you.
Yeah,
it's
lovely
to see you there.
Brian.
Jan Bree says, hello, Cath and Jay. The first time I ever saw you both was at Bridgenorth Festival. This is in the UK. Always camp there. Worst camping. Tale, someone falling on my tent at Cambridge Folk Festival. Oh, this is like Hillary's story. Someone falling in on you.
Yeah,
like,
that's horrible. That's really horrible.
Just so shocking.
It feels very personal at the time. I'm sure it's not.
I don't mean it. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Jan. And Leanne is saying, here's her story. Camping at Wollongong in August, predicted minimum was 0 degrees. Wollongong is on the border between Queensland and northern New South Wales.
It's very cold up there.
Very cold in winter. Very high up. We have a caravan, friends in forward fold camper with 2 kids and a relatively new rescue dog. We had to share a power cord, so gave friends our blower heater and didn't use power for our van. How cold could it get? Well, it dropped to -6 degrees Celsius. Our friend's dog had diarrhea. So we had to take him out several times through the night. There was ice halfway up the canvas of their camper, despite the blower heater, and 2 degrees Celsius. Minus 2 degrees. Minus in our van. It does get cold here in Australia in certain places. I sat up most of the night with our dog, who was quite sick. The day got up to 30 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Oh, my God. So winter's days can be hot. Winter's nights below zero.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That is a great story.
That's got lots of elements. It hasn't got rain.
It hasn't got rain
but
or
it's
wind.
got frost and it's got poo.
Frost and diarrhea.
Yeah, that's always...
Thank you, Leanne. That's really good.
I'm a real fan of a story that's got poo in it, definitely.
And Brian says, thank you very much. I guess you're thanking us for singing you happy birthday. I don't know if you should be thanking us for that. It's a bit crap. But never mind. Sham. Hello, Sham. Charmaline Fernando. Mackie's laughing. And Sylvia and Graham Underwood. Hello.
Hey, guys. Lovely to see you.
Before we wrap it up tonight, we will do another live stream next week from a different location. You'll have to watch out on the Facebook page. We'll put it on our events. We'll make a new event and we'll reveal all. Well, we probably won't reveal all, but we'll tell you when and what it's going to be.
That's a different sort of show.
That's a different sort of show. See, now we've had a glass of wine. We're getting a bit silly now.
As if we're not always.
Yeah, we're always silly, but now we're getting sillier.
Look at the lovely view behind us. Look at that.
The sunset hasn't been as spectacular as a couple of nights ago when Jay took that photo that I put on Facebook.
Beautiful northern star up there.
But it's still beautiful. So we're going to just quickly talk about Mackie Ferguson's beautiful artwork on the front cover of our CD. This CD will be the prize in the best worst camping disaster story competition that so many of you have now entered. We will have to judge which story is the best, and I think it's going to be very, very hard. So we might have more than one winner. You will get a free copy of the CD mailed to you, or if you live close by, we might drop it over or rendezvous somewhere. Maki did this fantastic drawing of us and our camper. We commissioned her to do this. Maki, you were in With One Voice Brisbane, one of our choirs, back in 2014, 2015, 2016, that around time. And we stayed friends, and you came to one of our live stream house concerts during COVID, and you brought this as a gift. This picture here, drawn on a postcard, and we had it sat on our fridge for years. And when we were talking about releasing this CD, Millard Pop-Top 74, I said, we should commission Maki to draw our camper, the old camper, because we don't have it anymore. We sold it. It's the only reason why we've been able to write a song about it is because we don't own it anymore. We're not going through the trauma of owning it anymore. So only now can we have the distance to be able to reflect and write a silly song about it. So we said, let's get Maki to draw our lovely old camper, because we love this caricature that she did. So we kept that caricature and we put it on the back of the CD, and on the front of the CD we've got the wonderful drawing that she did of the camper, and she's done the springs and the nuts and bolts falling off it and the canvas being patched up. And we said, why don't you make the tire flat? We never did actually have a flat tire, but we did have to replace the wheels entirely, both of them. And we did have to replace the, what do you call this at the front, that bit there?
Oh,
the bit that has the jockey wheel on it. I know the word for the jockey.
Tow bar.
The tow bar. It's got a transom.
I think you can call it a transom. I'm not sure
we had to replace that because it was too short and we couldn't turn it, we couldn't maneuver it. So, yeah, but we did ask for a little exaggeration there on the flat tire. So thank you, Maki, for designing this gorgeous CD cover. And on the inside, we asked her to do a picture of the camper being towed. So we have an old 2002 Camry, and we used that to tow the camper when we first got it because we didn't have any other vehicle, and really it wasn't up to the job of towing. So we don't use it to tow anymore, but that's sort of what the camper looked like after Jay had repaired the front, because we smashed up the front in another incident that we will not tell you about now. There's a lovely emu. There's an emu, and that relates to a story of when Jay first came to Australia, and he was touring with Jenny Simpson, who lives over in Perth now and is artistic director of Awesome Arts Festival, which has won so many awards. And there was an emu chasing them across the Nullarbor Plain as they drove from Melbourne to Perth. And here we have, of course, the kookaburra. We've heard a few kookaburras out here tonight, and a lot of people will know that I used to do an impersonation of a kookaburra. in our live shows. So thank you, Mucky. Oh, and the canoe. Forgot to mention the canoe. We did own a canoe, and it was so huge. It was as long as the car. So that's pretty accurate. Thank you, Mucky. We love your artwork on our CD. Thank you. And to finish off, we're going to sing the song Millard Pop-Top 74.
We can do the whole thing, are we?
Hello, Dominique. Dominique says, it's Friday. Enjoy the bubbles and banter. Yes, pour some more bubbles. And we've got Donna. Hello, Donna Marie Barlow. It's lovely to have you too. All right, so everybody, you've got to sing along on this, because there's a sing-along part for the audience, and we needed it on the recording. We went, well, what are we going to do? Because it's a studio album. We're not doing it in front of an audience. We have a choir. We have a choir. The choir is called Freedom Train Choir, and Facebook no longer allow us to flip the screen, so all the writing is now back to front, which is a shame. But this says Freedom Train Choir, for those of you who can read back to front. And we had 13 lovely members of Freedom Train Choir who could sing the audience participation part of this song. We're going to have you all singing it tonight. We expect that you're all singing it loud and lustily.
And annoying the neighbours.
And annoying the neighbours. How does this song go?
2, 3, 4.
It goes 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4.
We were tired of camping in a swag, waking on a bumpy floor. Time for a change, we decided. Let's see what we can afford. I was studying alternatives till I was dizzy in the head. When an online ad caught my eye, and this is what it said. Well, you can wind her up and you can wind her down. She got 2 big wheels to keep you off the ground, a bed at each and a big space in the middle to hold the family at board. Yeah, it's a lucky day, haul a dream away. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74. We bought a cheap sight unseen, that might have been a mistake. She was a bit of a fixer-up, but a little love was all it ever take. And so began a journey through an ever-revolving door. As our money came in, it soon went out on a Pop-Top 74. First the telescopes went down, but only one at a time, cause the cables kept getting tangled up in a way only the devil could design. So we exercised our credit card till it was bruised and sore. Then once again she was working just like back in 74. Cause you could wind her up and you could wind her down. She got 2 good wheels to keep you off the ground, a bed at each and a big space in the middle to hold the family at board. Yeah, it's your lucky day, haul a dream away. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74. Then she tried to kill me. She pulled my car back down that hill. I fell underneath the wheels. How I'm living